And a good evening to you here from KB Willett Arena that you are listening to Pointers Hockey right here on WWSP Stevens Point 90 FM, and you're watching it live here on our SPTV's YouTube live stream. Will Haroldson, Brody Kupsky again on the call for you tonight. Max Cavaness doing the camera work for us here tonight, so you know, if everything goes wrong, we can all blame Mac. No, I'm just kidding. It's his first time. But Brody, this is senior night here in KB Willett Arena. Kind of a sour taste in Stevens Point's mouth after last night's tie to Northland. Honestly, should have kind of went down in the books as a loss because of the way Northland just outplayed Stevens Point in the later stages of that. But how does Stevens Point approach today's game here tonight? If you're Stevens Point, how do you approach this game after a rough one yesterday?
So the way I look at it is that you just gotta play how you used to always play. You know, you had one bad game last night and you can get over it, but you got to do something to try and win tonight. You know, you can't lose a 1-19-2 team, and especially since the WIAC now is run by Superior with 28 points on the season. You gotta get that lead back by winning in regulation tonight. Yeah, and especially since it's senior night too.
Yep, and you don't want to. Yesterday's game, well, you know, we never know what the outcome is going to be in the WIAC conference. Last night definitely made things a little bit more interesting than maybe they should be. With only one win, like you said, now Superior is in the lead. And that means that if Superior sweeps Stevens Point next week, the Yellow Jackets are your WIAC Conference champions in the regular season, and that really kind of all but puts away the WIAC's hope of getting any team in the NCAA tournament. Now, if you're Stevens Point, yesterday's loss was rough, shootout loss. So it doesn't go down as a loss in the books, but it certainly feels like it. And if you're Stevens Point, that is a really bad tie. Record-wise, with like you said, a 1-19-1 team, you're not supposed to have that happen. And what you're going to have to do right now the rest of the season is you're going to need to impress. You're going to need to win games, and you're going to need to win them handily because obviously we don't know what exactly is going to happen in the future, but yesterday's game didn't do a lot for your hopes of getting higher seedings in the NCAA tournament.
No question about it. I mean, you losing a shootout to a 1-19-2 team that's really going to tank your ranking if you don't show out tonight and pretty much next week. I mean, it's pretty much over for your Pointers. But Superior is going to be tough next week. They're looking to win the conference. You know, both teams are looking to win the conference. So hopefully tonight the Pointers can just turn it around and take back that lead.
Next week is going to be some of the most important hockey for any team in the WIAC. It's going to be a win and you win the conference kind of situation. Now, what would be interesting if Stevens Point won one and Superior also won a game, so they kind of split, and then Eau Claire wins out, then Eau Claire would win. So there's all kinds of scenarios. What Eau Claire, it's kind of a three-headed monster. There's only 3 teams that realistically have a shot at winning the WIAC, and it's Eau Claire, Stevens Point, and Superior. And the easier path would still be Stevens Point, because you need to win out. But yeah, certainly yesterday did not do yourselves any favors. You're a top 10 team in the country, and kind of regardless of the outcome here today, you will most likely drop down a few spots because of that performance. It's just at this point, how do you bounce back and how do you get yourself ready? And one thing to talk about here is we saw here before the game yesterday, Alex Proctor, one of the star goaltenders for this Stevens Point team, in crutches, not even suited up here for senior night here. Now, he wouldn't play because obviously Ryan Wagner, the senior, going to play for Stevens Point, but that's a big loss for Stevens Point if Proctor's out the rest of the season, because statistically he leads the Pointers in all aspects of the game.
No question about it. And for a freshman like him pulling up to Stevens Point and showing out how he has, he's kind of a big deal here. You know, he's kind of almost like a leader on the team just based on the way he's been playing. So losing him possibly for the rest of the season it's a huge blow.
It is a massive blow, but this is a team that, like we said, you got 3 good goaltenders, and it is and just like a lot of sports, it's next man up at that point. The most important player on the team In the case of kind of football, the most important player on the team is your starting quarterback. The second most important is your backup quarterback. That goes no different in hockey. Your most important player is your goaltender. Your second most important player is your backup goaltender. And Ryan Wagner had a little rough go about it yesterday, but he still played a halfway decent game. Yeah, he got beat in a breakaway and didn't perform as great in shootouts, but he's going to have a chance for redemption here tonight as he slaps his stick coming on the ice here for the final time of the regular season here. This will be his final time after he took that extra year of eligibility from last year, but this will most certainly be his final time on the ice as the Pointers goaltender here at home during the regular season, I will add. Yes. Obviously, there's still a postseason, and maybe Stevens Point gets a few games in KB Willett Arena, who knows. But looking at this team, Northland, I was just so incredibly impressed at the performance they had yesterday, and especially from their goaltender, Chris Kerr. What an outstanding performance for him. He gave up only 2 goals, but was just a monster in the crease last night. And if Northland can repeat that performance that he had yesterday, they're going to be in a good spot here again today.
Definitely, without question there. I mean, he was a stud in the net last night. He really showed out why he's pretty much the team's goalie. I mean, he blocked every shot that was given at him, and a couple of shots that, the shot that he gave up, they're tough shots to block. So
there was really nothing he could do about it. You got to try to stick a pad up there. It was just a really good sequence by Stevens Point to get those 2 goals that they had. Other than that, he played in just a tremendous game, and it was just a shutdown in overtime, and even in the shootouts when they needed him to come up clutch, he did. And so for that, Stevens Point is going to have to look to try to get on the Lumberjacks here today. Chris Kerr, like we said, is going to be in the net for the Lumberjacks. And Josh King, along with Chris Kerr, number 41, as well at forward is going to be number 45 for Bryce Sincere. Right wing is going to be number 10. That is Brown. At another right wing is Craycroft. And obviously goaltender Kerr, King. And this is a team that they have a couple players that really overlap in a few of these lines. And so fatigue is a thing for some of these players here tonight. Now, if you're Stevens Point, you can get a bunch of different players here. But the injury bug has definitely hurt Stevens Point. Like we said, Finstrom and Finstrom, has been out, Proctor out. Now, we're going to get the starting lineups here for Stevens Point, Brody, but when you have an injury bug, like what Stevens Point has, how do you prepare yourself for the future? Because this is like the type of situation that you kind of dread. You do not want to have the injury bug bite you at the end of the regular season. What do they got to do here?
You just got to try and stay healthy. You have the tough practices where, your body feels physically weak, but you got to take care of yourself and just take care of your teammates, just keep yourself healthy, really. I mean, you got a lot of depth on the team, but also you can't always rely on the depth. You got to rely on yourself to be healthy.
You're absolutely right. So we're going to look here at the starters here for the Pointers. Obviously, all 4 seniors, Fader, Northy, Wagner, and Jake Tice on the ice for Stevens. Well, there's a rhyme for you. And then along with Mick Hennigan, the junior out of Niles, Illinois, and Sam Ide, the junior out of Grant, Minnesota. So emotional night here. That's going to be something that both of these teams are going to have to try to hold together a little bit. We're going to approach the national anthem here, and we'll get some more thoughts here in the pregame here. So we'll let you guys listen in, and we will be right back in just a minute.
At this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your caps as Heidi Overstack sings the national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars
All right, so with that, we get even closer here to the opening face-off, Brody. So final remarks that just things that you want to see the Pointers do here today to really turn around what happened from yesterday.
Just win it for the seniors tonight. You know, it's their night. It's their night to play, and you know, all of them are starting. You gotta win it out for them, and just pull it together, win tonight. Keep your hopes alive.
And yeah, absolutely. You want to keep those hopes alive for an NCAA tournament bid, but you also don't want to look too far ahead. And that was one thing we were talking about a little bit in the pregame. Stevens Point maybe got caught looking a little too far ahead. How do they prepare themselves here today from looking too far ahead?
You can't really look too far ahead of, you know, the next few games. You know, you got a couple games next week against Superior that are very huge. You got to win tonight's game first, because Northland College is out here trying to win their second game of the season. They're not going to take it lightly on you guys, especially after last night where they pretty much won that game. You know.
No, in all aspects, they really did win that game. It was just, unfortunately for them, it had to come in shootouts, which ultimately, when you get to that point in WIAC rules, it's ruled a tie, but Northland really outplayed Stevens Point last night, and not many people can say that they did that at all this season.
Especially in KB Willett Arena.
Especially in KB Willett Arena, and especially in the WIAC. Nobody really outplayed Stevens Point. As here comes the opening face-off here, and a little antsy there are the Pointers, as now the puck squirts free, and we are underway here in KB Willett Arena. Puck escapes, and here comes Northey, and Fader has it on the push. Quickly, Stevens Point with an offensive attack as the puck goes right out of play. So early, Stevens Point and Northland going back at it. Just about 16 seconds into this one, we get our first stoppage of play. Really, yesterday's first period was a really fast-paced one. It'll be interesting to see if it's going to be kind of like that again here today. Face-off coming here, Scaroni and Fader, as it is a tie-up here, and Tice gets it, and here comes Stevens Point. A quick slap shot. There's a lot of traffic there in the lane. Tice now with it. He takes a shot, and that's another block there. Great start here for Kerr. Up front, and that shot hits the side of the net, and tangled up is Fader. It looked like he was tied up here with Cerrone. Now Fader has it. He loses it, and it goes behind the net to Northey. Stevens Point makes some substitutions here. Dawson Sciarino and Harrison Stewart on for Stevens Point. Sciarino now has it. He loses it. That was another theme yesterday, Brody, that Stevens Point, a lot of turnovers. They're going to need to limit that here today.
Yeah, without question. And a lot of missed passes, too, that they should have had, and just a lot of missed opportunities for the Pointers last night to get goals.
Fighting in the corner with it are the Lumberjacks and the Pointers. Now the puck squirts free, and now everybody can be on sides. A lot of substitutions here coming for Northland. Here comes Fletcher Anderson, the man that scored the first goal of the night yesterday. That shot goes wide. Sciarino now with it, finds its way to Anderson. Anderson with a shot, and that one hits the top of the net and goes out of play. Some quick action here, a lot of shots early, so if you're Coach Cree, you gotta like the aggressiveness to start here. But if you're Stevens Point, also you wanna take better looking shots. That's been one thing that has kind of been a theme of what they've done this year. Is sure, they've taken a lot of shots on goal, but some of them have not been very good shots.
Yeah, just not, you know, too wide of shots, and just like shots that probably you shouldn't take, but
Sciarino with a chance as that one gets redirected last second. Go ahead.
Yeah, just shots you shouldn't take, and they're tough shots that just aren't even close to the goal.
Kind of sometimes this team is so talented, and sometimes you see some really head-scratcher shots there that you're thinking, what in the world were they? There was just no chance of that going in. Regardless, they take him. They're an aggressive team, that's for sure. And the puck squirts free. Stevens Point was thinking about icing, but no. Nice collision there alongside the boards. Wagner with the student section to his back here, and now intercepting the pass, and here comes Stevens Point on a trip there. Taylor hits the deck. Potentially, I heard some people kind of calling for an interference, and I think that is going to be called.
I mean, he really dove into him.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was.
that was.
I wasn't sure if that was Fader or Polias who got taken down, but you could kind of see that was pretty obvious. There's just a bunch of snow all over the back here. Jordan Fader complaining to the refs, and you know, I think the refs kind of have a point to it. Actually, no, there isn't a penalty here on the ice. I thought for sure there was a penalty. I think they were just going to get Northland for offsides, but I thought for sure that was going to be called. Here is bunting and a quick shot that goes wide there by Hennigan. Fader now with it. Now Ide up top. Fader trying to fight Chiron off. Just kind of shoves him down. And here comes Stevens Point. Fader over to Hennigan. Back to Ide, excuse me. Now to Bunting, who just swings and misses. Nice poke there by Ide to keep it in the zone, but it gets dumped out anyway. Icing is called here. Quick kind of 3 minutes or so here in this one, but sloppy play by both sides. I guess they're just kind of figuring each other out at this point. But yeah, remember yesterday it was about the 8:02 mark in the first period when Stevens Point struck first. Try to replicate that here today. But you got to like offensively so far. Stevens Point has had the puck in the offensive zone for a good portion of today's game. And oh boy, I thought that went in here from our angle. It certainly looked like it went in. Hit the side of the net though. Kerr again played a fantastic game last night for the Lumberjacks. It was really a key to why they even forced the game to overtime and got into shootouts. Northland with a chance of a 3-on-2 here if they hustle. Here's another chance. Here's a quick shot and a nice pad save there by Wagner. Man, I thought for a second if he would have passed it to his partner, he had a wide open goal there. But instead tries to play hero, and Wagner not going to get a much easier save than that, right into the chest, and it's not too hard.
Strike one.
So 16:43 to go here in this opening period. Stevens Point and Northland tied 0-0. Face-off one here by Northland. Oh, a swing and a miss there on the attack there. That was number 2, Severson for the Lumberjacks. Now fighting for it, Fletcher Anderson. Ooh, nice outlet pass there to Dawson Chiron and Chiarino, excuse me. And I think there's a little fight here as some extracurricular stuff going on.
And like last night, it was just these two teams were really going at it last night. You know, pretty much from the second period on, it was kind of a dogfight.
It looks like Kerr made the save, but it was just momentum carried a pointer right into him, and Northland must have thought that they were actually going at him, but really it was just kind of coincidence that somebody just crashed into Kerr.
Exactly. It's not like, you know, at that point with all your momentum.
So quick snap off there, easy save, nice play there by Kerr. Back to your point there, Brody.
With your momentum, it just carries you, and sometimes you just can't stop. So, you know, it happens. It's the game of hockey.
Sellout here tonight in KB. There's no room for anybody. Standing room only. Here comes Northland. Looks like Chiarino just tapped that one out. Willett now dumps it out of the zone and goes to Brady Smith here for Stevens Point. Smith turns the puck over here. A lot of turnovers to start this game here by Stevens Point.
And that's something they got to limit here.
Chiarino now has the puck. Fancy puck work, nothing doing, and a nice easy save there by Kerr again. If he can, I mean, he is really making a case here through 2 games to be WIAC Player of the Week. If Northland can come up with a win today,
oh, no question, he definitely would be.
It would be my vote, that's for sure.
Yeah, huge credit to him. He's playing really well these past nights.
Chris Kerr with an 88% save percentage. Here's Sam Ide with it. Intercepts that pass by Stiles. Puck squirts free and now finds Brown. He'll just dump it out of the zone. That just about hits the roof, but nothing doing. Ide dumps it over to his teammate, Hennigan. He tries to get it up quickly to Falls. Falls just loses it. Now dumping it in the zone was Bunting. Just to get a line change, was it, I think? Nope, they wave him back onto the ice. And now here comes Stevens Point. Harrison Stewart, with it. Tries to pass it to Moberg between the legs, and here comes Stevens Point. A chance of a 3-on-2 if they hustle. Gets it over to Moberg. Moberg with the slap shot and that. Looks like there's a stick lane. Is hitting the deck there was Falls. Just harmless. No direct contact or anything, so everything's all right here. We get a face-off coming here. 15:06 to go here, first period. Still no score. Face-off one here by Northland behind their own net. Now they're going to look cleared out of the zone. Pass it to the open Ewing. And here come the Lumberjacks. Now they just dump it into the offensive zone, and Wagner comes out of the net to play it. Remember a few weeks ago, Brody, Wagner came out of the net to play a puck dangerously, and River Falls is able to score, and there is a shot that goes wide. Oh boy, there was a chance there, and a little bit of a takedown there. Lewiski takes out Hummerstone. And just
actually,
quickly
that's
dump
Quentin
it.
Hill.
You're right, Quentin Hill. Looked like a 9 there in the front, but no, it's 8. Here come the Lumberjacks as they dump it back out to center ice. Stevens Point is now going to grab it and quickly getting it over to Stewart. Now dumping it into the zone is the Pointers, and the Lumberjacks have it. Again, they're kind of carrying on this defensive performance that Northland had yesterday. Just a really impressive all-around game there, but it's hard not to highlight the game that Kerr played. Nice save there by Wagner. But Kerr really, and it's nothing against Proctor or Wagner, but Kerr really made the more impressive saves. I mean, like open lane slap shots to the face, delayed penalty coming here on Northland. So Stevens Point is going to get a power play here, I believe. Or are they going to slap Jake Tice with it?
I think he just undercut him there a little bit.
Yeah, they're going to give it to Jake Tice. So here comes Northland on the power play here tonight. Stevens Point's going to have to send out this penalty kill unit early, and Northland with a chance to jump ahead 1-0 early if they're able to connect here. 13:52 to go here. Point and Northland tied 0-0. Face-off won by Stevens Point, and they cleared out of the zone. Kerr comes out of the net to play it dangerously. Pulias, and now he hands it off to his teammate, and here comes Northland. Fakes the handoff. Man, I thought for sure he was going to pass it here, and now here comes Stiles with it for the Lumberjacks. Banks it off to himself. No, it's intercepted here by Stevens Point, and they dump it right back out. Kerr plays it, gets it to Lewiski. Now, when you think of how a penalty kill unit goes out, Brody, what is the keys to successfully killing off a penalty?
Just shooting the puck down to the other side and just keeping it out of your zone, really.
You want to let that clock chew up, too, especially when you send it out of the zone like that. Here's a shot. Nice pad save there by Wagner. But like you said, you want to get the puck out of the zone, and what that does is it chews the time off the clock here as we approach the halfway point in this power play for Northland. A minute left, just now under a minute. Here comes Sione. Now he's on the push here, guarded by Gunrowski. He closes out well defensively. Pass back to Varga, and Stevens Point clears it out of the zone. That's just something they do really well, is just they always pursue the puck as, Kerr dangerously playing that as Cody Moline was zooming up the ice to try to get a shorthanded goal. Stevens Point only has one of those this season here in KB Willett Arena. Here comes Northland. Varga gets it back to Collette. Sione alongside him. Really, there has not been a good offensive set here, and I'm surprised they're just dumping it in the zone. They have the man advantage, Brody. They're not even setting up the offense.
It's very interesting. I don't know how that's, if that's just their plan, just to try to hopefully something happens, but it's clearly not working as the penalty is pretty much killed.
Almost over, and there's still that just amount of time when it takes to get a guy back out on the ice. But Stevens Point successfully kills off the penalty, something they have been good at all year. Northland not able to connect early as we approach the midway point here in this first period. Hennigan with it in the corner, tries to dump it out of the zone, and he does. So a little bit of a fight going on here. It looked like Hennigan was tied up there with Honnold. Here comes the Lumberjacks. Lamberty has it. Here he comes, Lamberty on the attack. Nice play there by Ide there to break it up. You can hear that the crowd is getting into it. Here comes Dawson Chironi, excuse me. Chirino scores! Beautiful go there by Dawson Chiarino as he just beats Kerr, as it looked like he dove for it and just completely misplayed it.
That is a perfect goal by Chiarino. He is good on those breakaways, and it really shows.
Kind of muffling there's a lot going on there, and kind of muffling the name there, but Chiarino puts it in the net, and Stevens Point, very similar to last night around the midway point in the first period. They strike first.
Now they just got to keep striking.
Yeah, what a play there for oh my God, Chiarino. I'm just struggling here tonight, but Dawson, that's what he's done all year, really, Brody. Chiarino he's one of the faster players on this Stevens Point team, and he had a game against River Falls where he intercepted a pass and just quickly went up the ice and scored. But again, Dawson Chiarino strikes, and here's another chance, and that shot goes up. A nice defensive close out there by Lewiski.
And like Superior too, he ran up the ice in overtime and scored that game-winning goal.
Chiarino. Excuse me, that's Hummerstone with it. Dawson gets a breather on the bench here after he scores. Here comes Stevens Point. Nice pass there, but he gets blocked, and hitting the deck there was Falls. Here goes Omatario. He'll wrist one off, and that one just goes wide.
If he just got to stick on that, if Falls got to stick
Here's
on
Brady
that,
Smith, open man Falls. Falls looking to load up. Pass up front. Ooh, he was looking for it as the pointer dumps Varga into the net. A nice poke check there by Omatario. Northland now gets the control of it. Taylor dumps it alongside the boards. Fighting for it in the corner here on the boards, and here comes Wilson Northy with it. Northy gonna shoot it, and that hits the leg of Styles and goes nowhere. David Hill now with it. Open man is eyed, and he was gonna just try to bounce it off of Varga, but nothing doing, and here comes Hart again, the Lumberjacks. Just dumping that in the zone is Varga. And Stevens Point will do the same on their end. 9:26 to go here, first period. Stevens Point 1, Northland nothing. Here's a shot by Ide, and that one goes wide. He had a chance there. He loaded up. Gets right back to Sam as now they're all good. That would have been called offsides if they would have had the possession. Hennigan now chasing after the puck here. Chiarino again scores that opening goal around the 11:02 mark. Gives Stevens Point the 1-0 lead. But this is a resilient team, and Northland, if they can copy that kind of game plan they had yesterday,
they have a good shot at winning then.
They have a very good shot as they won in shootouts yesterday. So they know what they got to do, and it's got to play solid defense there. Kerr was just beat, and it looked like Wagner had no idea where the puck was as he just completely missed it. It just went wide, and there was another chance for Northland. And that one just goes wide. So some good looks here by the Lumberjacks, but nothing doing. Good play by Wagner to start. Ooh, bad transition there, bad substitution there, because Stevens Point could have caught Northland napping, and another score! Oh my goodness! You know, I talked about it. It looked like maybe they had a chance to catch Northland in the middle of a substitution. They come back. Stevens Point had 2-on-4. And just quickly getting a wrister off is Quentin Hill, getting a wrister off looked like Chiarino did, and Quentin Hill just rebounded it right back in, and Stevens Point has 2 goals in the span of 3 minutes.
Just a quick putback, just like in basketball, getting that rebound and putting it in. That was perfect.
Stevens Point already has as many goals as they scored last night, and a timeout going to be taken by Northland. They need a breather here, but Stevens Point, yeah, they only scored 2 yesterday. They've got 2 in the first period. If you're Northland, that's got to scare you a little bit.
Yeah, exactly, without question. Last night they played really well. Solid defense to, only allow a few goals for the Pointers, and already down 2-0 with 8:20 left in the first period. Speaking of other scores around the WIAC, the EC Eau Claire Blue Golds are tied 0-0 to River Falls Falcons. Another hockey game going on.
I think you're pretty safe to say EC, and people are going to think Eau Claire.
I hope.
I mean, we're in the Wisconsin if we're in the WIAC, Wisconsin Conference, I don't think anybody's going to think it's East Carolina, something like that.
You never know. You never know.
That's true. 2-0 here, and if you're Kerr, that's got to shake your confidence a little bit after the tremendous game he had yesterday. He's already given up 2 here in the first period, and there's still 8 minutes and 20 seconds to go here. Stevens Point not done. This is kind of how we expected Stevens Point to play yesterday. Obviously, it didn't work out. There's a whole lot of game left here as well. I mean, we're talking like may sound like we're talking about how it's over yet. It's over, but I mean,
It's never over.
There's 8 minutes and 20 seconds in the first period, and there's still 2 more. And here's another chance. Chiarino has the puck again. Can Dawson do some magic? Here's Polias up front, and a nice block there by Kerr. This time he has good position. Chiarino gets to Gonrowski up top. Here's to Smith. Gonrowski calling for it again. Here's a chance. Chiarino over to the open man, Anderson. Anderson surveying. Fletcher has it. Now he moves it around. Here comes Fletcher. Puts the brakes on, and where's the puck? And it's in the mitt of the defender. Oh, a little pushing and shoving afterwards. Oh, ref is saying get out. I think they're going to hit. That's number 12, Honold. They're going to send him to the box, I think.
I believe so, because he just kind of got into it with
Polias,
yeah.
I think.
Polias are...
They're going to have him go in too. So there's going to be a little 4-on-4 cross-checking and roughing, I think.
I mean, not ideal for each side, but also, you know.
You don't really lose anything because it's still kind of...
It's just kind of
even
now.
Strength with it being 4-on-4. Now it's not. It still is difficult to score when 4-on-4. But looks like, yeah, Andrew Polias hit with a 2-minute minor penalty, and so is Harnold. So tempers are flaring a little bit here as Stevens Point has kind of the momentum and the edge here early, but Northland, you can kind of sense a little bit of frustration is being put in here as Kerr looked like he took another shot there. But if you remember from last night, he took quite a few shots and he was able to still get up. Just Stevens Point just needs to keep their cool here, and this is one of those situations that we didn't see the whole the altercation here, but if you're Andrew Polias, you're a veteran when it comes to conference play here in the WIAC. You've seen a few games. This is where you just can't react.
You can't get out of control.
You can't give an opposing team that extra thing that, well, now it's even strength. But think about it. If you didn't react to that, then you'd have a power play going on here.
Exactly.
And an even better chance to score.
Yeah, definitely, without question.
So Pants open man up front was eyed as Kerr hit the deck. The puck is still free. Stevens Point still has it. Here comes Hennigan with it. Little wraparound. Mick has it. Surveying, got the open man up top. Here's Ide. Ide's going to wrist one, and that one's go way up high and out of play.
Just a bit high there, but
as Bob Euchre said in the movie Major League, just a bit outside.
Fantastic movie.
I highly recommend. I can't tell you to watch it, but I highly recommend it. 7:18 to go here, first period. Stevens Point up 2-0 now on Northland. 4-on-4 hockey with equalizing. Guys look like they got 2 helmets stuck. Fletcher Anderson stuck with Severson. That was pretty funny there. I was wondering for a second what's going on here.
Like,
there's 2 guys not in the play, and
I was like,
just stuck.
We got another fight going on, or?
Nope. Looks like, I mean, they did the face-off, so what I think happened was they were kind of face down, and once you did it, they just kind of smashed their helmets together and just got stuck. So we're going to face off here at center ice. Stevens Point wins it. Again, they're up 2-0 thanks to nice plays by Quentin Hill and Chiarino. There's a broken stick on the ice. They're going to quickly get it off the sides. Lines Judge Peters has it. Missing the pass there was Sam Ide. You're going to see that's a question that I have, rules-wise. Can a ref or a judge, whatever you want to call them, can they hold on to a broken stick to keep it out of play? Here's a quick shot, and that one's blocked by the pad of Wagner. But is the rule that you have to keep the broken stick off the ice, or what is the rule there, Brody?
I'm not sure, honestly.
Ooh, there's a shot that goes high and out of play. There was an opportunity there. But, yeah, it always makes you think about it, because if you could, you just have the officials just get rid of the stick, but you notice they kind of push it off to the side. And there's always a danger when there's that just lumber just hitting out there on the ice. You never know if you're on a push and you accidentally trip on it, you can hurt yourself.
Or you try to pass it and it just hits the stick and messes up your pass.
It's things out of your control that you don't want to have influence the game here.
Exactly.
Around 30 seconds left on the 4-on-4 hockey. Hummerstone has it. Stevens Point lucky to be on sides. That was pretty close, if you ask me. As Tice just got on sides, excuse me, they're going to say. Weimer has it. It's funny, you can identify Weimer with it. He had
he's the only one without
the first goal yesterday to tie everything up. He's the only one with no backplate on his, or no nameplate on his jersey. I guess he doesn't need it. We know his name now after that tremendous breakaway goal he had yesterday. Both teams are at full strength as the penalty is, both penalties are, I guess they're kind of killed off. Not in the traditional senses, they're penalty kill units out there. 5:30 to go here in the opening period. Northland looking to try to get a little closer in this one. Stevens Point came out with a 2-burger. Have 5 minutes still to go to try to add to this lead here on senior night here in KB World Arena. Here's Noah Falls with it. Does not have numbers here. He's going to go anyway. Try to get it up front to Fader, and that one just goes wide. Nice right idea there with Falls. Oh, there's a takedown delayed penalty coming here on Stevens Point as Jordan Fader just tackled the guy, and that was an easy call, and he can't complain really.
Exactly.
We had a wide open look at that. It was as blatant of a penalty as you're going to get. So he'll go to the box.
Yeah, 2 takedown, oh my.
I mean, it looked like a linebacker tackling a wide receiver. It was that obvious of a penalty. And
almost better than the UWSP football team.
That is. Taking shots, are we? Taking shots. It was good form. Coach Vinay would like the way that tackle looked. Problem is, it's on the ice and not on the football field. I would say that classifies as a holding.
I would holding offense, 10-yard penalty.
Well, you're right. Here comes Northland now with a chance to try to make this a 1-point game here. A lightning strike of goals in the midway period, and where it saw Stevens Point score within 2 minutes and 30 seconds of each other. Styles with it up top. There's a shot, and the puck goes wide. That was dangerous there. Wagner was not in good position. Now the puck squirts free alongside. Ewing has it. Whiskey now with it. It's it back to Ewing. Ewing's going to quickly wrist one off. That one really didn't look like it had a lot of strength to it, and Stevens Point clears the zone.
Yeah, kind of a weak shot there. Probably had a chance.
Yeah, definitely there was an opening, but just because it came off so awkwardly, looked like maybe it fluttered, but it was also just a really weak shot. Here comes the Lumberjacks here as they try to set up the offense. King fighting with Polias. Offsides would be the call, and Northland does not want to touch it. Now they get it back. Varga gets it back. And here comes Hironi, intercepted at Stevens Point. They're going to try to dump it in the zone, and they do quickly send it up the ice.
About 30 seconds left in the penalty here.
Varga, that's King with it. He'll dump it back in. Just under 3:30 to go here in this opening period. Stevens Point playing very well offensively, defensively
just as well.
Just as well, and for Northland, their star goaltender who played a tremendous game yesterday saw himself give up 2 goals here. The first one was not necessarily his fault. It was just a really beautiful play by Chiarino. Second one he was out of place, and that one was his fault. So I guess you can really kind of assess one of the goals to him. Oh, there was another chance for Quentin Hill. Beautiful anticipation there as he just kind of jumped right, kind of like a defensive back jumping a route of a wide receiver. And here's another chance up front. The puck just can't escape in front of the goaltender. Donrowski now quickly dumps it in. Open man behind him is a quick pass. Wilson Northey, one of those senior leaders of this team. Captain, shot, nice block there by the Lumberjacks. Get it right back to Donrowski. And there was another sloppy pass, and here comes Northland. They're just going to dump it out. And offsides was going to be called.
Icing too, I think.
Icing.
Maybe.
They're yelling for 3 to get off the ice. Craig Croft has to get off. I wonder if he heard the referee screaming, "Get off the ice," maybe the 12 times that he said it. I don't know if it got through enough.
Yeah.
All joking aside. This is a very good officiating crew. Same one we had last night. A really well well-called game, both sides. And that's what you like to see, consistency in your calls. And we said it with Liam, who is an official in past times for rec basketball, who I'm sure you've played a few games that you've had maybe a few words with his officiating, but it's all you can ask for either sides is having a well-officiated game where the calls are going both ways.
Yeah, and without question. I mean, I've
Sciarrino just taking down a player. He very well could have gotten interference for that. I'm honestly kind of surprised he did because Peters was looking at it all the straight away. Bunting now has it for Stevens Point.
To my point, you gotta be equal with calls. Otherwise, you got fans against you, you got the team against you, and it's just not a good night for you if you're just not fair with the calls.
Official was tied up there in the corner. Getting it across the ice here. Approaching a minute to go here, a minute 10. Stevens Point with a really good first period after a really disappointing overtime shootout loss to Northland yesterday. They need a rebound as that puck hits somebody on the bench. 58 seconds to go here. But after what we saw yesterday, I'm sure there was quite a few people that were nervous for how they were going to perform in tonight's game. But so far, so good for Coach Krieger and his team. Has it been kind of unconventional ways to score too? I mean, obviously Sciarrino, he's kind of been doing that all season, but off the carom, as Quentin Hill put it, Sione a little too quick.
A goal's a goal. You're going to take it.
You'll take what you can get. Hummerstone now has it for Stevens Point. He'll dump it into the offensive zone. Puck escapes. Here's some open guys. That's something I've noticed a few times is Northland gets really, that just hits the post there. Oh, there was a chance to make this 3-0 as that just goes wide here. But something I was going to say, partner, was Northland does tend to leave an open man. And for Stevens Point, you've really got to capitalize that because that is just the last thing you want to do defensively is leave an open man.
Yeah, definitely. You gotta take those chances when you have them. I mean, especially with Northland doing it a lot tonight. I mean, there's a lot of open holes that the Pointers can take advantage of, but just can't. They just haven't done it yet.
Face-off coming. Moberg wins it with ease, and here comes Stevens Point trying to add another tally to that board here in the beginning. Brown gets it over to Stiles. He whiffs on a pass there, and now Stevens Point tries to intercept it. Onside is the call. Here comes Stevens Point. Puck flutters free. Stiles with it again. Tries to dump it out of the zone, and he does. 14 seconds to go here in this period. Tice with it. Oh, nice check there in the corner. Here comes Hill. He'll wrist one off, and that goes right into the chest of Kerr. Big collision here in the corner. Approaching 5 seconds left. Some words being exchanged. Varga and Tice talking to one another. Substitutions both coming in with 6 seconds. I'm a little surprised about that, but substitutions gonna make what you gotta do. What your coaches tell you.
Give those guys a break and go into end of the first period here.
So face-off here, Stevens Point, if they can get a good look and try to get one off, but Northland wins the face-off, and that should do it, and that's a pretty wise play there. Just sit on it in the corner and don't let the opponent get another chance at it. But that is how this first period is going to end. A really dominant first period by Stevens Point, putting up 2 goals to take a 2-0 lead into the first intermission. Brody, what did you make out of that first period by Stevens Point?
Just better offensive possessions and just better open looks for the Pointers, unlike last night. Last night was kind of rough for them with open looks and just missed passes here and there, but definitely looking better for the Pointers and definitely good goaltending tonight.
So far, so good for Stevens Point. They lead this one 2-0 after 1. We are going to take a 15-minute break here at KB Willett Arena, and we'll send it back to the studio if you're listening here on 90 FM for some more music. We'll just take a break here if you're watching right on the YouTube live stream. So we're going to take a 15-minute break and be right back. You're listening to Pointers Hockey right here on WWSB, Stevens Point 90 FM, your only alternative. See you in 15. And a welcome back here to KB Willett Arena. After 2 periods, it is 2-0. Stevens Point on top of Northland right here on WWSP. Stevens Point 90 FM, your only alternative, and home here for Pointers Athletics. You're watching the game also live on YouTube, Brody. We got some stats here after the first period. What stuck out to you here?
So, Pointers, you said after 2 periods. We're only after 1 here at KB.
Oh, excuse me, you're right. We're here in period 2, so you have to forgive me thinking that. But whatever, back to your point.
That's all right, Will. So, after 2 period, or 1 period, now I'm getting messed up.
Now you're saying it.
Pointers have only 13 shots to Lumberjacks 6. 2 goals by the Pointers here, 1 by Dawson Chirino, 1 by Quentin Hill off a rebound. And for Pointers, 3 penalties totaling 6 minutes, and for Northland only 1 penalty totaling 2. Chris Kerr with 11 saves but 2 goals given up, and Wagner 6 saves on the night right now. 2 shots in power play for the Lumberjacks. Pointers haven't been in power play yet because when both teams had penalties, it was 4-on-4, so they didn't really have a power play. So, looking good for the Pointers right now. They've won 12 face-offs, and the Lumberjacks won 10. So, kind of almost even, but the Pointers are up 2-0, and hopefully they continue the stretch.
That's the key right there. It's almost even in every aspect except the score. Stevens Point obviously up 2-0 here, but if you're Northland, I know you're down 2-0, but you also don't want to panic either, because the moment you start to panic here, it's kind of like Stevens Point and a shark smelling blood in the water. You don't want to give the Pointers that little edge here. And I feel like if you start to panic and maybe start passing it not as well, that could be dangerous territory. But for them, goal number 1 is, try to get goal number 1.
Well, yeah, exactly. And really, you can't panic because you still got, 20 minutes in this period, you got another 20 in the next period. So there's still a lot of time to just...
Still 40 minutes to get 2, which is not outrageous to think. It's not outrageous to think to get 2 in 20 minutes.
And really, this team last night, they showed why, you can't take any opponent lightly. They scored pretty well last night, and they pretty much came back in that game and won in shootout.
If you remember, Stevens Point scored first, Fletcher Anderson with a nice goal. And then it was Weimer for the Lumberjacks who knotted it up. And then later in it, I believe it was Harrison Stewart or Andrew Pulias who put the...
Pulias,
it was actually, yes, you're right, it was Pulias. I couldn't remember if it was 24 or 20, or excuse me, 25 or 28. But Pulias puts them up 2-1. And then with 16 seconds to go, Northland, actually with 30 seconds, Northland pulled their goaltender, gave them the extra man advantage, and they score with 16 seconds left. Now that was also with Ryan Wagner in the net as Alex Parker started the night, but he had to leave due to an apparent leg injury as now he's in crutches. Well, they score with 16 seconds left to tie it up and go into overtime. Well, no team scores in overtime, so we go into shootouts. Stevens Point scored first, Northland didn't. Then Point didn't score and Northland did. And then both sides got a stop, and we go into second shootouts. And Stevens Point comes out cold, and Northland scored. Then Point came out cold again, and Northland won it that way. And it was really a good performance there by Northland in the later stages. And they could only wish, like you said, we said this in the car ride over, they only wish that they could have done this at some point earlier in the season.
Yeah, exactly. And especially for a team like this, they're 1-19-2 now. They've really shown out the last few weeks, especially against Eau Claire last week. They almost won that, and they almost won against the Pointers last night.
That was the first outcome in the past 6 matchups between these two teams spanning over 3 years that had not resulted in a victory for Stevens Point. Up until that point, the Pointers had won 6 straight in the series, averaging almost the final score giving about a 2-point difference in between. And so that has been how lopsided this, before last night's game, it was 8-1-1 in the last 10. Now it's 8-1-2 in the last meetings. But still, Northland had a very good case at trying to get a victory. And we are underway here in the second period. Here's a quick shot, and that one just goes wide. But Brody, they get the all-elusive tie I mean, they wish they could have got a win here, but it's better than a loss. And it's also a moral victory for Northland. They competed with the 10th ranked team in the country for 60 minutes in regulation, not to mention the 5 overtime. So 65 minutes of this entire game, Northland competed with the 10th ranked team in the country, and they only have 1 win on the year. Ooh, there's a nice break up there. I eyed because there's a chance for 2-on-1 here. But moral victory, they didn't get a victory in the physical sense, but a major, major moral victory for Northland.
I mean, really, it's the highlight of their season. That's just how bad this season has been for Northland.
They got the victory over River Falls. That has been their only victory in Wyatt Conference play. It was a 4-2 win. It was actually a really nice win, but it certainly was not their best game of the season. Their best game was, without question, last night. Their best game of the year. Chris Kerr played tremendous. Today, he hasn't played necessarily terrible. He has let 2 in here. There's a player without a stick on the ice.
Looks like
Andrew Polias now gets a new one as there's just a stick alongside the boards. Now here comes Stevens Point. Chance of a 2-on-2. A nice stick there. Here comes Fletcher Anderson for Stevens Point. Lead it off to Chiarino. There's a shot and that one goes wide. Looks like there's maybe a pass to the slot as the stick is now back out to center ice. Here comes Anderson. That puck looked too tough. Comes off his stick. Sending that over. Lines just Peters as they now get the broken stick out of play. Stewart pokes the puck away. Now it goes to Taylor. Taylor going to end up to try to outlet it up to Ewing, and he'll just tap it out into the zone. Hummerstone has it for Stevens Point. Ooh, thought maybe there was a chance that puck was coming up here. I'll push you in the way, Brody. You can take the hit for us.
Yeah, I guess so.
Here's a shot. Ooh, nice save there by Wagner. Whiskey, get it over to Taylor. Shot up to the slot and trying to redirect it. Goes off the side of the net. Dangerous play there. Calling for it is Lewiski. They don't get it to him as now a shot goes wide behind the net. Hummerstone now has it. Lewiski's going to chase after Tice in the corner. Nice collision. Hummerstone fighting with Taylor. Now goes over to Tice. Gets it back to Stewart. Stewart gets it over to Hill. Hill is going to outlet it up to Tice. Nice interception there by Taylor. And now Stewart has it. They get it over to Polias. Scored one of the goals last night for Stevens Point. That putt shot looked like it fluttered off the stick and goes way wide. Big collision in the corner between Taylor and Tice. Those two are kind of going at it.
Everybody's really been going after Tice tonight.
Jake, one of the seniors of this Stevens Point team, 1 of 4 with Fader, Northey, Wagner. Go ahead. Oh, goodness. That puck went flying out of play.
I mean, when you got that much experience, you're willing to just take anything. You know, Tice. I mean, everybody's been kind of going after Tice tonight, and he's holding his own.
17:01 to go here in period 2. Stevens Point on top, 2-0. Lumberjacks win the face-off, and now they'll dump it as that pass is intercepted there by Isaac Moberg. Here comes Stevens Point on the push. Pass to the slot. That's a shot up front, I think, and it was gobbled up there by Kerr.
Just got his glove on it, I think.
No, I guess the difference from tonight is Kerr is, to this point, has not made the difficult saves. Last night he made all the easy and the difficult saves. Tonight he's been beaten twice, and those were albeit two really tough saves, but ones that he made last night.
Yes.
Somebody losing a stick. Quentin Hill looks like it.
He definitely was making tough saves last night, and tonight a lot of the shots have been just right at him.
Matario spinning around, still has the puck and losing it. Looks like Quentin Hill ran into his own player. A lot of congestion in front of Kerr. Monrowski, pass up front. Polias is just on the deck trying to do a goalie screen, and he had to pick it up while he was on his knees.
Actually, I think that was Moline.
You're right. Moline, now Gonrowski fighting Collette.
Very dangerous.
Here comes Gonrowski. Collette now has it into the corner to Stiles. Substitution, a nice cut in there. Here's a quick shot to the side. Gonrowski racing up the ice. He'll now just dump it in the zone and hits an official. Here comes the Lumberjacks. Varga, Brown, now at Cioni. And wrapping up his Fader. Remember, he got hit with a holding earlier. Jordan was calling for it. Somebody lost his stick there. Looks like Gonrowski lost his stick.
A couple points losing their sticks tonight.
Okay. here comes Stevens Point. Now Jordan Fader has it for the pointers. Here comes Sean Bunting. Bunting gonna race up the ice. Bunting gonna slow it down, get it to Ide. Ide gonna get to the open man up top. Here's a Hennigan with a shot, and that hits a defender. Where's the puck? Now it squirts free, and Brown has it for Northland. Stevens Point playing a little antsy here in this second period. Looks like obviously they're trying to play aggressive. And you really like what you're seeing here is a pass to the slot. There's a goaltender screen. The problem was Fader just wasn't looking for it, and he was actually doing a screen, and icing is going to be called.
You know, if you get a couple of those passes and if you're just paying attention, I mean, maybe a few more goals here, but, you know, it's good that the Pointers are being a little aggressive because they're ready to play. They're not ready to just give up and, you know, we got a 2-goal lead, you know. You can't just give up now.
Fader's also been the one to really do the dirty work, to be the one to do the screens in front of the goaltender, to dive onto the ice, to keep possession of it, and that's kind of what he's been known for. He's one of the leading scorers on this team, not only just point-wise, but for goals as that shot goes wide. But he really does all the fundamental things. Ooh, there's a big collision at center ice there between Whiskey. Here's a 3-on-2 opportunity. Pass to the slot and a score! Beautifully executed play as Harrison Stewart gets the 2-on-1 pass to the slot, just pokes it in, and it's 3-0 Stevens Point.
That was just a perfect breakaway, and that's what the Pointers really need. A lot of those, you know, get them more breakaways and they have a lot more goals. That's just perfect.
3-0 is the score. Stevens Point taking control of this one. And now Kerr, is he gonna be able to keep his composure as this onslaught of Stevens Point offense is rearing its head? A beautiful play there by Harrison Stewart and Fletcher Anderson. It was just a beautiful 1-on-2 opportunity set up there, and they made the right pass.
It was almost 3-on-1 actually.
It was really kind of a 3-on-1, but they played it as a 2-on-1. Ooh, there was another chance for a goal as Kerr just about gets beat, and now he's getting all the sieve chance from his back there. And you know, Brody, when you think of it, do you get rattled here now that you've given up 3 here? You're down 3-0.
There's a lot more time left. Don't worry. You know, you could come back in this game and, you know, not let up another goal, but like, if you want to keep your composure, you just can't listen to the crowd.
And this is a guy who I don't know if I would accept those calls of saying he's kind of letting things get through here. He's a tremendous goaltender. As you see, 88% save percentage on the year, and he played just a tremendous game last night. And I think this is maybe just a case of Stevens Point, a little bit of that anger and aggression getting out from last night. Maybe they underestimated Northland to some extent. Oh, there was a shot that goes wide. But really, he's a very good goaltender. And I know this is a 1-19-1 team, but this has also been, I can kind of equate to him, if you remember the Nebraska, even Nebraska football as of late, they've been in these games, they just have not been able to finish them. And that's kind of been the curse of Northland for the past decade or so. But so far today, Stevens Point is in full control of this one and is really taking it to the Lumberjacks. Here comes Isaac Moberg on the push, gets it to the open man. Here's another shot, that one just goes high.
Just missed.
Just missed. Sam Ide now can't control it as the puck now squirts back, and he's going to dump it in his own. Big collision alongside the boards. Hardig and Stevens Point, and a delayed penalty going to come here as Ryan Wagner comes out of the net, and he'll make the skate to the bench just to turn right around and go back. So Stevens Point is going to have a power play opportunity here to really bust this one open if they can net one right here.
And hopefully they can score in this power play because they haven't really scored in the power play this season. So take their chances when you can get it.
This is also going to be a case here of after last night's tie, Stevens Point is going to want to look as flashy as possible. So they're not going to feel bad for Northland should they score here and go up 4-0. If Stevens Point could, they try to put up 20 here tonight. They want to make that. They want to make the committee look at them again after last night's rough game.
Trust me, if they can put up 20 here, oh boy.
There's a wrister. That one's going to go nowhere. And Northland.
You would hope they can put up 20 here to give it a shot.
I don't know if there's ever been 20 scored in a Wyatt game. I'm sure somewhere out there the hockey gods have it listed. Now here comes Shirino. Oh no, pass. Here comes Shirino now with it. Dawson scored the first goal of the game, and just quick puck movement as it squirts out of the zone. Wagner plays it, gets it to Hennigan. Hennigan gets it over to Shirino off the bank pass. Dawson has it, gets it to the open man in Fletcher Anderson. Now Stevens Point going to slow it down to set up the offense. Hennigan back up top, flares Anderson. That puck flies up in the air, just trying to bat it down with Shirino and trying to clear it out of the zone. Losing a stick is Hennigan. It's right into, that's a really inconvenient spot for the Pointers, as it's right in front of the goal. Anderson with it. Now you kind of have to play it to this side because you're going to have the stick in your way. Here comes a shot. There's a chance up front and clearing out of the zone. But again, partner, that stick, you got to get it out of the way because it was almost acting like another defender. It was in the way.
Now it's out of the way now, so better chance for the Pointers here with a little less than 40 seconds left in power play.
David Hill has it. Now Stevens Point gets it. And it's dumped out of the zone here. So Northland's penalty kill doing its job so far in this first minute and a half, 25 seconds remaining here. Realistically, just kind of one attack left. That stick just completely snaps as David Hill loses one.
Just like a twig.
So 4-on-4 for the moment. Here's a chance up front as the puck is poked away and Armentario hits the deck. Puck is still free and they try to dump it out of the zone. Bunting has it for Stevens Point. He's going to try to slap one. That goes nowhere and they're going to dump it out of the zone. Beautiful play there on the penalty kill by Northland, as they were just a thorn in Stevens Point's side for that 2 minutes. Quickly dumping it down the ice. Nice vision there by Smith to notice Bunting just kind of streaking down the ice. Here's a chance up front. Moberg hits the deck. So that's going to go across the ice. Again, another broken stick here, Brody. I know they're the Lumberjacks, but I mean, we're seeing a lot of...
I think we said this last night, too.
And it's a reoccurring thing. Northland is chopping up a lot of lumber. I guess that is, I mean, it is their...
Got to keep the house warm in the winter.
That is true. This is true. You got to keep the arena. I mean, this is an ice arena, so you don't want to keep it too warm.
Yeah, exactly.
In a swimming pool. Harrison Stewart now with it, gets it over to Moberg. Sloppy passes here, but Stevens Point still has it. Stewart trying to get it into the slot to Quinton Hill. He got the redirect goal to make this a 2-0 lead before Polias made this a 3-0. Or Harrison Stewart, rather.
Polias scored last night.
Polias scored last night. Hard to keep track of the amount of goals scored. Ewing with the pass. He gets it quickly up the ice. Here comes Weimer with it. Can Northland get this to a 2-score game? What's important for them is to get it to a 1-score game again into the third period. And for Stevens Point, it has been a thing of them to let teams crawl back into it. Perfect example last night. They were up 2-1, a chance up front. Kerr doesn't have it. Where is the puck? Now Ewing has it, tries to get it out. Nice hit there by Hennigan, keeps it in the zone. Ewing could have grabbed a hold of that. There was a chance that he could have cleared out of the zone. The puck squirts free and now does just get up top to Ide. Here comes Hennigan. Hennigan gonna hand it off to Anderson. Anderson fakes the handoff to Ide. Now Ide gets it over to Hennigan. Over up front. Here's a chance up front and a score as Wilson Northey puts one in the back of the net and makes this a 4-0 game.
Attaboy, the senior Wilson Northey. That's perfect for senior night tonight.
4-0 Stevens Point taking last night's shootout loss personal and is blowing this one open here. What a sequence of events here, Brody. I mean, last night everything just seemed like it was going wrong for Stevens Point in the later stages, and they have just erased the memory of last night's game. Oh, watch out.
Look out.
That one went way out into the stands. Souvenir.
Give it to a kid.
Media timeout here, Brody, but 4 goals in a period and a half. Just tremendous offense here by Stevens Point.
Yeah, without question, and that's what they needed last night to win, but looks like they're really trying to put on a show for the crowd, sellout crowd here at KB Willett Arena for senior night, and potentially the last game at Stevens Point this season. So
yeah, theoretically, I mean, if they do lose well, they could, if they finish second place in the WIAC, get 2 home games. But if you win the regular season, you get a bye through the first round. You go straight to the semifinals. So Stevens Point, the key is they just need to win out. If they win out 3 regulation games, meaning they get 9 points, they're going to have 35 on the season, which should be enough to win the WIAC regular season. Now, that's easier said than done. You got a good chance at winning here tonight, 4-0. Obviously, there's still a period and a half left. If Northland can put up 2 here and make this a little bit interesting, this game's not over. But Stevens Point playing really well. If they continue to play like this, you got to like their chances. But next week is going to be a very interesting matchup because UW Superior was not one of the teams that a lot of people had in contention in the final week of the regular season. And they got a real shot at winning this. I mean, they have been very good at home this year, and they took Stevens Point all the way in the matchup that they had here in KB Willett Arena. Actually had a very good chance of winning that game. It was just a ridiculous
just kind of
finish
gave it
to
away
that
towards
one.
the end.
Really just kind of let it slip away. So the Yellow Jackets are going to look for some revenge. Oh, hitting the deck was Armatario, but he got the blocks. He got what was important. Outless pass up to Anderson. Big collision here. Here comes Chiarino with it. Fighting for it alongside the boards. The Lumberjacks now have it, and they're going to push it up the ice. Here comes Stevens Point. Now they steal it away. Pulias, big pass up to Chiarino. Another big collision there alongside the boards. Ooh, a big hit as the whiskey is just leveled. There has been some big hits in the past 20 seconds here, partner. Another one, Willett colliding with Pulias.
These guys really don't like each other.
And this is where you're kind of start to see the frustration settle in for Northland as Stevens Point. They've got all the control, and they got a 4-0 lead here. And there was another chance out front. Almost a 5-0. You are absolutely right. As stoppage in play, I think that hit the net, so they're going to say it's out of play. But
speaking of scores, still 0-0 between Eau Claire and River Falls. So potentially, if Eau Claire loses the rest of the season, Stout might actually move up to 3rd in the WIAC and get that 3rd seed.
Yeah, this final week or so is going to be very important to how things play out here. 7:42 to go here in this one. Another collision alongside the boards here. These teams, they are just leaving everything out there right now, and a little bit more than that. Oh, another big collision as Honold takes out Stewart, and I think they're going to get an infraction here. Penalty, interference. Honold, he's complaining, but
I almost felt unnecessary.
You can see the frustration coming over him and a lot of these Northland guys as they're just...
Looks like the Pointers are actually getting a penalty. Maybe not.
No, that was just a mistake on the...
I was going to say, there's a lot of frustration with this team, or Northland team tonight. I mean, obviously, you go down 4-0, you're not going to be happy, but you got to try to keep your composure.
Yeah, and cooler heads prevail in any means, and who knows? Maybe Northland will see Stevens Point in the WIAC tournament. Keep the momentum of last night's game in mind. Now, you could point out that Stevens Point is kind of erasing any of the momentum that was, but over the past 3 of the 4 games that they played tremendous. And yes, they're 0-2-1 in those 3 games, but their best game of the year was last night. Ooh, collision. It was potentially a big one with Ewing. And here comes Stevens Point. Hennigan with it, playing aggressively here in the penalty. Oh, hitting the deck there. And here comes Stevens Point. They have a 2-man advantage if they hustle here, get it to the open man. Here comes Fader with a chance up front. Now they get it to the open man, and it just slips out of the zone.
Just some of those missed passes like we were talking about last night. If you get those passes, you might potentially have a goal.
Hardig playing quick, and now Idle come up to play the puck alongside the boards. Behind the net. Now Stevens Point going to try to set up the offense. They're going to try to set up the TV show The Office. No.
Wake up, Will.
I know. I'm trying to. It's late, man. It's past my bedtime, 8:15. Sam Ide with it now up top. Here's Falls. Falls, ooh, fancy puck work. A little too fancy for probably his own good, as now Northland will clear it out. Good. And you got to credit this Northland penalty kill. They have been playing really well here today. I know they're down 4-0, but they're playing really aggressive here, and you got to like what you're seeing out of them in that aspect of this.
Yeah, exactly. They've been playing really well for, you know.
Brady Smith, ooh, there's a chance at one, and stoppage in play.
Wow, that's very interesting. I mean, he didn't even have a glove on it. Just, huh.
Are they going to say he stopped it?
He hardly stopped it. It was
didn't.
right in front of him.
It went right around them. Interesting call.
I'm not sure.
I don't know if I agree with that, but they are down there and they're up front. I'm sure.
I guess they know better than us. I'm not sure.
I'm usually going to lean to the fact they do, but also there was a couple weeks ago, if you remember, against River Falls, where the point
questionable
scored
calls.
a goal and they said it wasn't. Ooh, here's another chance. Stewart with a shot and a score. Brady Smith rather puts one right in the back of the net with 2 seconds left on the power play. Yeah, there wasn't much time left, but you scored.
And you know what that means? Free tacos for all the fans here at Stevens Point. Courtesy of Taco Bell Live Moss. Perfect way to start out senior night.
Little shout out there. You're doing their advertising for them, man.
I don't mind doing advertising. It's a lot of fun.
Sure it is. 5-0 Stevens Point is on top of Northland here. Put up a 3-burger here, and they still have 5 minutes. That was just a beautiful play there. Brady Smith getting into the scoring column here, and Kerr. It'll be interesting here, partner, and they're going to let Wagner go the rest of the way, you have to think, as that shot goes wide here on senior night. But if Stevens Point can get a large enough lead here, and we talked about this a little bit, are they going to give one of the freshmen in Matthias Smith a little playing time as that shot goes wide? Nice pad save there by Wagner.
I mean, maybe you do. It's a question of whether you want to or not.
A chance of a breakaway, but a nice poke there, and they're going to get a delayed penalty, I think, a trip. Or are they going to say offsides?
Not sure.
I thought for sure they could have gotten a delayed penalty on Northland.
I didn't see a hand go up, so I'm not sure. I don't. Maybe you do put in Smith. Maybe you don't. I mean, obviously you want to keep Wagner in for senior night.
I say you let him play it out. Let Wagner play it out. Face-off won by Stevens Point, but Northland gets it and punts it back and puts it back into the zone. I got football. I'm all over today.
I mean, you know, the Super Bowl is soon. You know, football is kind of on the mind right now.
Yeah, not with the Pro Bowl though. That's kind of gone away. It's really the Pro Bowl games.
Some guys don't like it. Some guys do to keep themselves safe. But
kind of sticking to the theme of All-Star game. The NHL's All-Star games happen today. The season, I mean, this NHL season has been ridiculous. There's a slap shot there. Kind of a wrister there. But, you know, one thing that in particular you like is the way that, there's another chance up front, but the way that the Toronto Maple Leafs have been having an excellent season this year. And certainly the Boston Bruins here. But this NHL season has been a lot of if you can kind of describe it as like a parody from last season. Obviously, Colorado is still kind of hanging around there, but there's really new contenders to the Stanley Cup this year.
Yeah, no question about it. Like Seattle, they've been showing out this year, especially since, you know, last year, you know, first season in the NHL, they're just kind of getting their footing, and I think they found their footing this year.
They're playing really well. A lot of the teams that maybe didn't have the greatest of years last year, Winnipeg Jets having a pretty nice rebound year. Obviously, Dallas is having a good one as well. And then on the flip side, there's other teams like the Columbus Blue Jackets and Montreal. And Cole Caulfield is playing really well. The Stevens Point native, played for Wisconsin, won the Hobie Baker.
He's actually hurt though the rest of the season.
Yeah, but Montreal is having a little bit of a letdown. They're not playing awful. There are a few games under 500, but they're definitely not back to the Stanley Cup where they were a couple seasons ago during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's going to be an exciting finish as, you know, now they're officially at halfway. Ooh, there was a nice pass to the slot. Brady Smith was looking for his second goal of the period. But it's going to be a really exciting NHL season. And, I mean, we're getting close here to college playoffs as it is, but NHL playoffs is, man,
It's coming soon. Yeah,
it's going to be.
It'll be exciting.
It's going to be exciting. There's no question about that.
Still score update 0-0 still in River Falls with 6:35 left in the second period.
Well, that's your score there. Our score here, 5-0. Stevens Point on top of Northland. 2 in the first, 3 here in the second period. That's how you got where we are right now. 2:30 to go. You're listening to Pointers Hockey right here. WWSP, Stevens Point 90 FM. Watching it live here on SPTV's YouTube channel. Matt Cavaness doing the camera work here for us tonight, doing tremendous work. Here's a chance of a breakaway here for Chirino. Another shot up front, and that's a nice block that time by Kerr. Dawson looking for his second of the night. Scored the first one of the night. And like we said, it was a very competitive first period, even though it was a 2-0 game. Here's a wrister. Oh, nice job there by Noah Falls laying out for that one and blocking it. There was a chance if they could have connected on that one. Another collision in the corner. Here comes Northland. Now Fader has it for Stevens Point. Wilson Northey, one of the captains on this team. Oh, nice glove save there by Wagner.
That is a strike. That's a good catch.
Looked like a catcher.
Baseball season's coming up, so.
Just looked like just sitting back there behind the plate and just putting the glove out. And there's a lot to be excited for when you think of baseball, not only just here in Stevens Point, but Milwaukee Brewers baseball coming up this year. A lot of excitement. Younger brother William Contreras coming to the Milwaukee as part of a trade. Brother of Wilson Contreras, who for years played with the Chicago Cubs.
Now he's with the Cardinals.
So he stays in the NL Central here, but for the Brewers, they're going to look to try to get back to the MLB, to the National League playoffs here after last year's kind of disappointing end of the season.
Yeah, disappointing second half for them, and realistically, you know, they got the guys that they can play, but they just got to put it together and hopefully make the playoffs and do well in them.
They got a few players like Brian Anderson coming over from Miami. They did lose a few key players, though, as Hunter Renfroe heads out, as well as Andrew McCutcheon going back to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Nice block there by Wagner.
Yeah, it's kind of sucks to see him go, but also, you know, it's good to see him go back home.
McCutcheon, really, I think a Hall of Fame career.
Underrated, really.
I think he's one of the more underrated players in baseball. I think he certainly deserves a nod of a potential a Hall of Fame position. Under 30 seconds to go here in this second period. Stevens Point in full control of this one against Northland. And they're looking to just get to the second intermission and get 20 minutes closer to their 14th win on the year. Ewing fighting alongside Moline, and now Hennigan going to try to clear it out. Moline, big collision at center ice. Here comes Hennigan. 2 seconds. And they're just going to let this one play out. And that will do it here for 2 periods. Stevens Point puts up 3 here in the second period. It is 5-2. Brody, Stevens Point just grabbing complete control. You've got to be impressed with the offensive execution here after 40 minutes.
No question about it. It's a lot better than last night. And, you know, it looks like Ewing going into the locker room a little PO'd. I guess they're just really not that happy after letting up 3 goals in this period. So it's really looking good for Stevens Point, and hopefully they can continue the success into the third period.
Well, with that, it is, again, your score 5-0, Stevens Point on top of Northland. That's going to do it here for another period. We're going to send it right back to the station for some more music right here on 90 FM. We'll see you in about 15 minutes. And a welcome back here to KB Willett Arena and Pointers Hockey right here on WWSB Stevens Point 90 FM and SPTV. Brody 5-0 after 2. Stevens Point takes complete control in this one here and is well on their way to getting a victory, but they got 20 minutes here. I'm not saying there's no chance, but
there's always a chance.
There's always a chance, but the way that Stevens Point is playing right now, I think a lot of people in this building are pretty confident they should be able to pull this one out.
Definitely. I believe that they should pull it out. And, you know, looking at some stats here, Pointers put up 27 shots on goal to Northland's 12. 5 different scorers tonight. Dawson Chirino and Quentin Hill in the first period. Harrison Stewart Wilson, or the senior captain in the second period, also with Brady Smith on the power play for the Pointers tonight. And
2 seconds left.
Yeah,
on the power play
it was perfect. You know, it's still a power play goal, so good for the Pointers and scoring with that. The Pointers have won. I believe it's pretty close in face-offs, but it looks like actually the Lumberjacks won a lot more face-offs. So
that's what's more impressive about the 5-0 score here is the Lumberjacks have won more face-offs, yet Stevens Point wins the game, is winning the game 5-0. I shouldn't say wins the game because there's a lot of time left. Oh, wrap around up front. Fader was looking to try to make this 6-0. Stevens Point is, obviously they're trying to finish this one off, but they're looking for some style points here as well to try to make the committee still think that they're a top 15 team. Yeah. After last night's, now obviously the season's not over. You can still win the WIAC regular season and WIAC conference tournament. And I think, you know, even with last night's, if we were able to run the table, meaning win the regular season and postseason, they still have a pretty good shot at making the tournament.
Oh, no question about it, especially since they've been, I mean, if it's anything like tonight, they have a really good shot. Oh, that's
man,
a
that
high
looked
shot.
like it just got stuck at one point. Surprised they didn't say it was a stoppage in play, but it looked like, because there's a little, that's where Northland comes into the ice. And that pass, Weimer intercepts it for Northland, but it hit like a fold between the glass. And I'm really surprised the refs didn't shut that one down, but nonetheless, we're still going here. Stevens Point trying to put 6 on the board here. Be close to their season high on goals scored. Scored 6 against Eau Claire. 6-2, kind of revenge win after the Blue Golds came into KB last year in the WIAC tournament championship game and just thumped Stevens Point.
Speaking of Eau Claire, they are down 1-0 against River Falls, so huge potential for Stout to come back as his goal. Oh,
ooh, there's a chance, another chance up front here. But for Eau Claire, that almost all but eliminates them from winning the regular season. Now, it would be pretty unlikely. They'd have to get 2 ties coming from Stevens Point and Superior in the final game. You know, obviously anything can happen, but if Eau Claire can't come back and win that game, they really got to hope that both the games in Superior and Stevens Point's case go the distance and take 65 minutes plus and end in shootouts, which be 1 point each. But Eau Claire needs a lot of help is what I'm getting at.
Yes, exactly, and good save by Wagner there. Yeah, they definitely need a lot of help here if they're going to have any chance to win the WIAC. That actually might help Stout too, as Stout plays Eau Claire next week, 2-game series to finish out the season, and it could help them move them up the 3rd seed.
Well, it's really going to be a simple formula for first and second here. Stevens Point wins tonight, and they win against Superior next week. Both games in regulation. They're your WIAC regular season champions. As that one was a quick chance there. Nice save there. As a new goaltender in the game, actually, vote in for the Lumberjacks. Looks like they've seen enough out of Kerr's performance today. Rough stretch, giving up 5 in 2 periods. Looking like they're trying to do a change here. And ooh, there was another shot, but a chance. And Wagner says no on senior night. So, and a little Nice little riff there.
The band's pretty good about that.
The band is staying in on it, but you know, Kerr had a tremendous game last night. Just things weren't going his way. That's just kind of life in the hockey world. You're going to have those nights where it just doesn't go your way, and Lumberjacks decided just to kind of go for change in the net.
You know, it's really with any sport, you know, you can have one really good night, and then, you know, the next night you just flop on the ground and just nothing goes your way.
It is what it is, and Northland makes a change, and no icing as it's going to go off of the stick. But Stevens Point going to try to really add on here, especially with a new goaltender, but so far so good for Vogt through about 4 minutes here in the third period.
You know, warming up, he didn't look fantastic, but he's really shown his own.
Let a few in the net, did Vogt. Here's a quick shot. Oh, that one goes wide, delayed penalty.
Looks like
it's going to be on, are they going to say it's on Stevens Point?
Not sure, because it looked like Fader got checked to the ground pretty hard, so.
I think they're going to say it's against Peary on Northland, so I think Stevens Point is going to get a power play here, and yes, they will.
Petrie, the captain, yeah, that's something you don't want to see out of your captain, but it happens. I mean, frustrations take the best of you.
Going to just be thrown right into the difficult situation of trying to stop this onslaught of Stevens Point's offense. Now they have a man advantage here, and they're just looking to just blow this one way open if it's not already. Cross-checking the official call. Hennigan has it up top. Again, this power play unit scored tonight and last night. Oh, beautiful save there by Vogt. Wow, what a play.
That's a good play out of Vogt there.
Just stays on side. Here comes Pulias. Gets it up top. Ooh, nice awareness there by Chiarino. There's a shot. Oh, I thought that one went in. It hits the side of the net. Hennigan has it. Minute and 20 to go here in the power play. Stevens Point up 5-0. Pulias back to Hennigan. Ooh, he was loading up. There's a chance up front. There's nothing doing. Stevens Point does just keep it in the zone. Fader now with it behind the net. Gets it over to Anderson. Stevens Point. Hennigan now has it. Pulias whiffs on the pass. Boy, it went right underneath us and out of play.
I don't have my glove here, so I'm not ready to get a catch here. So
it was coming right at us, just went right under.
Keep it on the ice, fellas.
Keep it on the ice, whatever. Don't mess with the moneymaker, meaning my face or whatever. But I've always been told I have a face. I have a face for radio anyway, so it's all right.
Don't we all?
Don't we all? 5-0 nonetheless. Just under a minute to go here in this power play for Stevens Point. And just offensively, they've done everything tonight. They did score on the power play earlier, albeit there were just 2 seconds left. A goal is a goal as that puck now spurts free. But the point I was getting to before the puck almost hit Brody in the face was Northland, I know they're down 5-0, but they played okay in the penalty kill. Here's another chance up front, and a save there by Vogt. And the puck still isn't free, and now Stevens Point has it again. Falls now with it up top, now has it, does Brady Smith. 23 seconds left in the power play. Here's Ide now with it. Ide is going to wrist one up. Here's a chance. Oh, and a miss. Just a point-blank miss there by Noah Falls, and that's going to get it out of the zone. 12 seconds, so Stevens Point's going to have to hurry here if they want to have another chance. They're going to quickly outlet it up. Here comes Noah Falls. Good defense there by the Lumberjacks, and they will kill off this penalty. So great play there by Northland as they stop.
Pointer's power play.
Yeah. Just kind of lost my train of thought there. As I was looking, there was a little bit of a collision in the ice back there, but nothing doing. Moline up front. Now Stewart. Stewart's going to snap one off, nothing doing. Here comes Lumberjacks, 2-on-2, but Stewart's hustling back, so that should close it out. Willett now has it. Stevens Point wants to keep the shutout going here tonight, and Ryan Wagner's tremendous performance. This is very much the Ryan Wagner that we saw from last year, the all-WIAC goaltender for the Pointers. And big hit. Looks like Quentin Hill just tripped over a guy. Here comes Northey. Scored earlier in the second period. Now the Lumberjacks trying to get a breakaway. Weimer has it. He's going 1-on-4. and he just gets leveled by Ide.
That's a big guy to take you down.
Sam Ide sitting at about 6'5", 6'6".
Honestly, with the skates, he might be 6'7".
Listed at 6'5". Yeah, he's a big guy out there. Now Varga gives it over to Stiles. Northland at 12:30 here need to come up with some magic here if they want to come back on this one. But Stevens Point, if they can just kind of they don't want to put this one on cruise control yet, but things are looking pretty good. But they also don't want to give up, like I said, they don't want to give up the shutout. Ryan Wagner's played a tremendous game here on senior night. You want to let your guy go out at home with a shutout win.
Exactly, without question. You would love it for him to just go out and win one for the team and keep the shutout going.
11:58 to go here in this third and final period of regulation. 24 hours ago, we were in a situation, we were obviously here in a hockey game, a much closer, a 2-1 game at this point. And Stevens Point was looking to try to move on and get their 14th win, but Northland resilient came back, and ooh, that one just goes wide. But I think Sciarrino had a little bit to do with why that shot went wide, as he just demolished Severson. Now the puck squirts free. Anderson has it. He's looking for his second. Surveying is Fletcher. Now he'll snap one off, excuse me. Taylor has it. No. Behind the net to Sciarrino. Dawson trying to get his second. Nice pass to the slot. A takedown up front. And now Taylor tries to keep it in or get it out, but Polias now finds it for Stevens Point. Oh, there's a chance up front and a score for Stevens Point. Fletcher Anderson nets one again, and the Pointers make this a 6-0 game.
Just found the right zone and it just hit the corner, and it's a huge goal out of Fletcher Anderson to put the Pointers up 6-0. A little less than 11 minutes left in the third period.
And this is just a tremendous game here offensively. What a rebound by Stevens Point. There's no other way to put it. It was a letdown last night going into overtime and eventually into shootouts against Northland. And Stevens Point has really executed when they have needed to here tonight, and they're going to try to do more here. Here comes Noah Falls. Gets it over to Sciarrino. So Vogt lets one through here. His first. Here comes Falls. He has it. Bunting gets it now. Wide open shot. Where's the puck? Did it squirt through?
I thought it went through.
Looks like Vogt just got enough of it to keep it out.
Wow. That was very, very close.
Wow. Wow is right. Almost seconds apart, Stevens Point could have scored. 7 would be their high on the season. They've scored 6 a few times, 5. This is the team that had the 8-1-1 record over 10 games over Northland the past couple years. The team that had been dominating until last night. But that memory has since gone out of Stevens Point's system, as they are well on their way here to their 14th win on the year, and they're looking for even more here. Right now, it's kind of even at this point of pride for Northland to try to ruin the shutout here, but also try to see stuff go through the net for next week's games.
Yeah, exactly.
Hummerstone fighting Ewing alongside the board. Now Craycroft has it, and a stoppage in play.
It's like a tripping call.
I think they're going to get Stevens. No, they're going to hit Ewing, I think.
Not sure. I didn't really see it, but guess call's made and Pointers on the power play now. Also some score updates. River Falls up 2-0 with 15-12 left in the third period against Eau Claire.
9:55 to go here. Stevens Point leading Northland 6-0. And the timeout taken as we approach them. We're at the official media timeout, but yeah, 2-0 here for River Falls over Eau Claire. And again, I've talked about it, and if River Falls, they've been playing good hockey. You know, obviously they had a little bit of a rough series before this Eau Claire series, but look at them. This is a team that's record is just deceptive. They're just so much better then now they're 8-13-1 record. This is a very talented team that, if you're Stevens Point and you happen to get the regular season win and the bye, you are not going to want to see River Falls in the WIAC tournament, because now they're starting to heat up.
Definitely not, and they are deceiving. They're an underrated team, honestly. I mean, despite their record, they really played tough against Pointers a couple weekends ago. They kind of gave the Pointers a fight, but just not enough to finish out the game, and that's ultimately what killed them. And definitely you don't want to see them in this WIAC tournament coming up, and they're going to put up a fight.
I think the key for Stevens Point also, they've been struck with the injury bug here in this last couple of weeks here. They want that first bye. They want to let their guys get healthy as we don't know how long Proctor is going to potentially be out. We don't know how long Finstrom's going to be out. These are some key pieces to this Stevens Point team. Is now a face-off here during the power play. Stevens Point trying to add to their 6-point lead here. And yeah, I know there's a lot of Pointers fans probably wondering, where was this offensive outburst yesterday? And I think, well, it was just kind of an occasion of Northland just played that good of a defensive game. And Kerr just had that good of a performance in the net. Today is just not the case. Fletcher Anderson now has it. Serving, gives it back to Hennigan up top. Hennigan with a chance, he'll wrist one out, and that one gets hit by a body, and nothing doing.
No deal.
No deal. Holly Mandel. Nick Hennigan over to Pulias. Thought about it. Now he'll wrist one too high, and it's going to squirt out of the offensive zone, and Stevens Point's going to reset. Wagner quickly points to his partner Sciarrino, who was open. Dawson trying to survey, playing good defense there is Northland. Again, their penalty kill has played relatively well today.
Besides, I mean, the one goal that they gave up with a couple seconds left in the power play, but
they've really been giving Stevens Point fits here while they've been on the power play. But yeah, a minute and 58 seconds, they control offside on Stevens Point. But a minute and 58 seconds here in that last power play, or the one before last one, 2 power plays ago. But they played really well for a minute and 58 seconds. They just gave up the goal in the last 2 seconds, which is brutal. But still, their penalty kill has not been what has lost them this game by any means. I just think it was the incredible offensive performance through the first 2 periods, putting up 5 goals and just seizing control of this one. Bunting fighting alongside the boards here. Romatario down there with him as well. Dumping it out of the zone again. It looks like it hit the line stretch Peters and kind of slowed it down. Regardless, Stevens Point has 15 seconds left on the power play. They don't realistically only have one kind of push left here. Falls.
Yeah, obviously I want to try something, but, they're still up by 6.
Romatario, 3 seconds to go. They score in this position earlier. Can they do it again? And the shot up front. Oh, no. And it just goes wide, and now they're back at full strength. So Northland successfully kills off the penalty. That's their second one in a row. Oh, big collision there as Falls lays a guy out, and he's still down, slowly getting up. Keep an eye on that. It's kind of 5-on-4 right now. Craycroft hit the deck hard, and he'll head to the bench. Ooh, man, that was a big hit.
Really laid him out there.
Quick, just kind of a home run ball. Caught by, fair caught there by Wagner. Center ice, fighting for it are both sides. Ewing now gets it. Northland trying to end the shutout here by Wagner on senior day. Here's a pass up front. Oh, another chance, but Vogt covers this one up.
He almost had a shot there. Just kind of got a stick out of control there, and just not enough.
7:07 to go here in this third and final period of regulation. 6-0, and up to that point before the last goal of Fletcher Anderson, it was 5 different people scoring, and it's just been a tremendous offensive performance here tonight by Stevens Point. A complete 180 and from what yesterday's game was defensive. There is no question about it. It was a defensive game. Today was all offense.
Yeah, no question about it. They've been really finding those open passes and completing those passes to score. But also their defense has kind of not allowed Northland here to take shots.
Be interesting to see if Coach Krieger, if they want to give Wagner, I know they're doing a shutout here, if they want to give him a curtain call.
I mean, he's been your kind of your leading goalie. I mean, not this year, obviously, but he's been kind of your guy for the last few years.
That was a chance there. Now they get it to Ide up top. Ide going to get it to Hennigan. Hennigan surveying. He'll shoot that one, and it's a pad save there by Vogt. Nice play. Moline. Brody going to get it to the open man. Here comes Hill. Hill's going to, open man was Ide, and a nice poke away there by Hardig. Man, 4-on-1. Lumberjacks didn't have the numbers, and they were still fighting against Stevens Point. Quickly up the ice. Brown with it. It squirts free to center ice. Dumping it right back in the zone are the Pointers. Jake Tice. Now over to King. Steals it. Now to Brown up the ice. And it gets stopped there by Amatario. Now it goes free, and a nice save there by Wagner. There was a chance there for the Lumberjacks, but nothing doing. Now Amatario going to get it over to Tice. And a stoppage in play. Now this is necessarily not the time, I would say, when you give Wagner a curtain call. It's kind of a double-edged sword. Do you let him finish out the shutout, or do you let the senior who's been here and done that, do you let him get a standing ovation from the crowd?
I feel like you just let him get the shutout. You know, it's just like a pitcher in an MLB game. You know, let him get the shutout. He's gone this far already and hasn't allowed a goal. So
just about took out the ref there as the puck went right by his shoulder. Fighting for it in the corner is Taylor. Now Weimer has it. Weimer gonna shoot, and that one goes wide. It's his own rebound, per se, and now here come the Pointers clearing it out of the zone. Puyas. And Chiarino gets his legs taken out from underneath him. Ewing just gonna slap one off, and that one's gonna go high. Here comes Chiarino. 4:30 to go. Dawson, some fancy puck work. He's gonna load one up and shoot, and a nice block there by Varga. Here comes Colette. Right now, all Northland is doing, and yes, they're trying to score, but they're trying to get rid of this shutout. Nice glove save there by Wagner.
Very effortlessly by Wagner there.
Just kind of scooped it down.
He just knows he has it.
Yeah, he's playing with such confidence right now, and he doesn't want this shutout going away.
Nobody wants it.
Need this. Stevens Point needed this kind of game after last night's performance to just get that bad taste out of your mouth. Now Bunting trying to race against Stiles, and man, Stiles got up the ice in a hurry, but Sean also met him in the back. And here comes Stevens Point as the puck splits back to their defensive zone. Stiles will now get it again. 4 minutes to go here, and this one, Stevens Point has been in control. In Pointer hockey right here. WSP Stevens Point 90 FM, also broadcasting it live here on SPTV. Here's a shot. That is going to hurt tomorrow as Bunting is hit on the thigh, and he's kind of laughing at himself, but that was an awkward place to take a puck, partner.
I'm glad he kept it safe, and he's still skating, so, hey, you know.
Now he's going to go to the bench, but yikes.
That was close.
That's I'm not going to say exactly where it hit, but all I'm going to say is that's enough to make any fan
wins,
to say the least.
It was very
kind of
close.
Figure where the area was.
Yes.
Here comes Stevens Point and Humberstone. Hill, I believe it is. Quentin Hill has one of the goals earlier for Stevens Point. They just need to get on sides. Now Hill does. Wenrowski just going to slap one across the ice, and a stoppage and the offsides. So 2 minutes and 58 seconds away. Stevens Point is well on their way to winning this game, and getting back to first place in the WAC will give them 29 points at 26 now. 3 points regulation win unless Northland's able to score 6 and 2 and change here. Stevens Point is on their way. I guess from a certain standpoint, you have to say. There's a shot. That one just goes wide. King he is trying to get rid of this shutout here for Stevens Point.
And who can blame him? You know,
no, absolutely.
Nothing's going right their night tonight.
Here's another shot. That one goes wide.
It's just not their night tonight.
What they did everything they had to do yesterday to be in this one, but it was just kind of like a runaway freight train in Stevens Point here tonight.
And that's all you can ask for the Pointers. They really need this game.
They need it, especially for the confidence going into a massive, massive series next week, which will decide the WIAC regular season. I saw you were looking at some scores here around the WIAC. Got an update for us.
2-1. River Falls is up over Eau Claire, so Eau Claire might be making a comeback here. Who knows? Hopefully.
Blue Golds really need this game if they have any hope of winning the regular season. Now, they need some chaos to happen the rest of the way after dropping last night's game. Really, they just need Stevens Point and Superior to tie 2 games.
Exactly.
And get 1 point on each and just get 2 points the rest of the way. But it's a longer shot for Eau Claire, but for Stevens Point and Superior, it's a pretty simple formula. Just win, and you're done, and you got the first round bye, and you win the regular season.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for the Pointers, if they want any chance at maybe going to the NCAA tournament, they just got to win out and look good in the tournament.
This was a good first step for them, but you're right. They need some style points here. Certainly tonight helps with that. Their second highest scoring margin. If they're able to finish this out, the highest margin of victory this season would be 6. They had a 6-2 victory over Eau Claire earlier this year. It was offsides on Stevens Point. Northy's just going to dump it in his own. 1 minute and 15 seconds left here in this one, as the Pointers are well on their way to victory.
Definitely. They really showed out tonight and gave the seniors a last hoorah.
Here comes Fader. Jordan maybe going to try to score one more time on his home ice as Lewinsky kind of pinned his stick to his armpit and didn't let Fader escape it. Bunting's going to get it. Puck squirts free. Collision inside the boards. Hennigan with it now. Goes back out to center ice. Bohr checked in. Hahn also there for Lumberjacks. 30 seconds remaining here now. Stevens Point, I don't think you should try to score. Let's just keep this
just keep
away
it easy
from the net. Let's give Wagner his shutout. 20 seconds remaining here. Fighting for it at center ice. Both sides kind of trip up. Here come the Lumberjacks and Styles. There's a shot. That one goes wide. 12 seconds remaining. Stevens Point gets it out of the zone. Here comes Isaac Moberg with some fancy stick work. Smart play there by Isaac. Just chew up the clock. Not even going to shoot it. 3 seconds. Now there is a shot there. Wow. And that will do it. Noah Falls took a quick shot there at the end, but Stevens Point is going to finish this one off 6-0 here and finish their regular season here in KP Willett Arena with a convincing win here. And what a game it was for Stevens Point, a game that they needed after last night's disappointing shootout loss. Gets them right back into first place standings point-wise and sets up for a very, very important series up in Superior against the Yellow Jackets next weekend.
Yeah, without question, that's a huge victory out of the Pointers tonight, especially for senior night. All these guys, you know, playing almost their last game at Stevens Point, you know, for Fader, for Wagner, Northy, and Tice, you know, this is huge for them, and I'm glad to see they're going out in good terms here, possibly.
And for Northland, this isn't the way that you wanted your series to go. However, your first game you had against Stevens Point, you played very well. You did everything to be in the game for 65 minutes and overtime. And this today was just a rough day at the office here for Northland, and they're going to just have to clear their mind and go on to their second one, because Stevens Point, they got 2 games, and so does Northland. And Northland, they're going to try to pick up some wins here to go into the WIAC Conference tournament hot. But you got some stats here, Brody. Let's hear what you got.
Some quick stats here. So 6 goals by the Pointers, 5 different scorers. So Dawson Shrino started the game out with a goal. Quentin Hill followed that up in the first period, and then to the second period, Harrison Stewart, Wilson Northey, and Brady Smith all scored. Smith on the power play. And Fletcher Anderson, again, in the third period, scored to make it a 6-0 puck game, I guess, in a sense. 41 shots taken by the Pointers to 18 shots by Northland. A huge victory out of the Pointers' first senior night. And Ryan Wagner with the shutout here. That's huge out of him.
And it's huge for his confidence after yesterday coming in to relieve Alex Proctor and honestly playing a really shaky game. It looked like he got rattled for a bit, but Ryan responds to that adversity, and I'd say he responded pretty well with a 6-0 performance. And he made some very impressive saves throughout this game here tonight.
You really got to be proud of him for that. It's a huge game out of him, and hopefully, you know, it's not his last game here. Hopefully they play more games here in the playoffs. And speaking of playoffs, it's 2-2 tie in River Falls between Falls and Eau Claire. So take a look at that, and it might get intense later.
So Stevens Point moves on to 14-5-4 overall on this season. Again, that's 29 points, which puts them 1 point ahead of Superior. But again, next weekend, Friday, Saturday at 7 p.m. up in Superior. Mark that on your calendars. That will decide more than likely who wins the WIAC regular season and really which WIAC team has the only chance at making the NCAA tournament. Now, Superior needs a little bit more help than Stevens Point does. It's a little bit of a clearer path, seeing as Point is still nationally ranked. But Superior is still in it as well. If they can get a few wins, if they can beat Stevens Point in 2 games and win the conference tournament as well, I'd say they deserve to have a decent shot at the NCAA tournament as well.
Without question, and they played really well against a stout team, you know, who was kind of picking up their picking up wins here and there at the end of the season after going on a little bit of a skid. So they looked really well against Stout, and they have a potential shot at making the NCAA tournament.
Looking here at the standings, like obviously updated here, Stevens Point's going to be on top with a 10-2-1 record in the WIAC, 29 points overall. Superior 9-3-1, 28. And obviously there's a lot still to go here. The rest of the 4 teams. The only game that's decided is Northland. They drop now to 1-11-1 on the year on 7 points. So Stevens Point, the path is clear in front of them. They need to get victories. If they can get victories the rest of the way, they're your WIAC tournament champions. It's going to be a great weekend, and I look forward. It's going to be a great matchup of games, and I look forward to seeing it. It's on Super Bowl weekend too, so
that's just perfect.
Not only do you get it's a nice prelude to the Super Bowl. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to call this one quits here. It was a really fun one, a good game to see Stevens Point rebound and pick up a nice victory. So for my partner, Brody Kupsky, I'm Will Haroldson, and Max Cavaness doing the tremendous job here on the camera work. We're going to say so long, and we will see you all next time.